just a couple of reminders for you guys. Well, actually, first, go over the agenda. We'll be doing a little bit of housekeeping, and then we have Johnny Riley with us today, who will actually be talking about coalition building practices and just things that are going on up in the Texarkana area. We are very excited to have him here with us today. So we will be going through his presentation, and then during that presentation you guys have the ability to ask questions, at which time afterwards we will go through and we will try to get the answer to any of your questions. Now, if a question does come up during the process of the webinar and we can answer that right off the bat, then we will go ahead and do that. If not, we will save them to the end so that we can ask Johnny at that time. So just a brief reminder that your microphones will be muted. And the reason why we do this is if we don't mute individuals, then we do get a lot of feedback, and so there's a lot of echoes and such. So for simplicity's sake, we just mute everybody. And then so that during your webinar, there was a little menu over to your right that you guys can see, and there's a block there for questions. You can type in any questions at any time, and we will process those questions as I just mentioned, and we will get the information back to you. Any question that I cannot answer, we will have Johnny answer at the end. And then at the same time, we will be recording, as we are right now, this webinar. And so within probably 24 hours, we will have this webinar uploaded to our YouTube site, or we will get it out to you guys along with the material, the PowerPoint and such from Johnny today. As well as if you would like the material from the past couple of webinars that we've had, we can always get you that material as well. Just feel free to shoot me an email. That email is on your invitation that you received for this webinar. Also the email address will be on the PowerPoint today. So we can get you that information if you need it to kind of connect you guys to the resources that are out there in your areas, or to get you in contact with somebody that has had some experiences building resources around housing, employment, and just other resource building information. So today our guest speaker is Johnny Riley, and Johnny, as you can see, is a native of Louisiana but resides here in Texas, so we are glad that he does. So he is the CEO of the Housing Authority of the City of Texarkana. He is also president and CEO of Bridging the Gaps Ministry, Northeast Louisiana, and international ministry based in Louisiana. So I found out about Johnny through our housing summit that we did here, and it was great having him there. And so we just wanted to have him back to kind of share some more resources with you guys through this webinar, and really being able to get more information out. So I have his complete bio here, but there's so much. He just runs, it looks like he runs around all over the country to just give all types of good information, speaking to many individuals. So we are very privileged to have him here with us today. So Johnny, I believe I'm taking you off mute.
Thank you very much. And I'm assuming that they have my screen also?
I am moving the screen over to you right now.
Okay. Do you see a black screen that has Texarkana, USA on the bottom?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak to fellow Texans about the work we're doing here in the Texarkana area. And I'm excited for the folks who are on the call with us today with this webinar. And hopefully the information that I provide to you will help you in your particular area. And from a personal perspective, the reason that I'm so engaged in this homeless initiative and homeless coalition here in the Texarkana area is because one of my brothers that's closest to me was actually homeless for some time, and I'll tell that story throughout the presentation. You'll see specifically how that's moved me to really make a difference as it relates to homelessness here, not only in Texarkana but in the USA in general. Teamwork is the key to our success, and that's how we've been successful here in the Texarkana area. The partnerships are very, very important, and we have so many different partners, and I'll give you a list of those individuals at the end of this presentation. But as a new person to this community, several months ago, almost a year ago now, I visited with the executive board of the Homeless Coalition before I was a member of the board, and share with them a vision that was somewhat radical, but it was a way for us to bring about some direct highlights to the homeless issue here in the Texarkana area. And the Texarkana Homeless Coalition, as you can see on this next slide, it consists of many organizations here in the community, and the goal is to end homelessness here in Texarkana, USA, Bowie County, and also really deal with this issue from a global perspective. And of course, there's information on there with our mission statement and things like that, and you'll have a copy of this slide, and I don't want to spend a lot of time working on that. But one thing that's unique about this coalition is that we're willing to do two things. One is we're willing to stay in our own lane, and what I mean by that is that whether it's with the city government, or it's with the Randy Sam Homeless Shelter, or it's with one of the other support agencies like the Salvation Army, or whether it's with the local church, we're willing to stay in our lane in our particular disciplines, but also we're willing to bring that talent to the table to help eliminate this particular one issue. And I think that's why we're so successful here in the Texarkana market as it relates to eliminating homelessness here in Texarkana, USA. Of course, there are objectives there, and you'll have copies of this to give you some details on that. But what I want to focus on is the number 4 is to communicate with funding entities and other organizations and the public at large to promote the general welfare of homelessness and to increase self-sufficiency. Our effort here in the Texarkana area is to really focus on those individuals who are homeless, who want to get off the street, and some of those individuals who don't know specifically how to bridge the gap between being homeless and then coming back into what we call the normal societal things. So we're really working to push forward to make those objectives work for those individuals and move them to self-sufficiency. And if you'll notice throughout all of our core objectives, there's something about self-sufficiency as it relates to that. The next slide is a guy who's golfing, and being a golfer, I have never played, I never participated in a golf tournament when it was 25 degrees or lower. But I had an opportunity not to play golf in 25-degree weather, but to represent the homeless community and the Homeless Coalition in 25-degree weather here in the Texarkana area. And you'll understand that after we talk a little bit more about this particular project that we worked on, which was called the Bridge City Project. It was a multi-state event. It was the first of its kind here in the Texarkana area, and we challenged the community leaders, the governmental officials, and also residents primarily to do a couple of things. One is to raise awareness and also raise some funds to help those individuals through the transition from being homeless back into what we call the normal things of society. And our challenge was very, very simple. We were going to spend one night outside, rain, sleet, or snow. When I made the presentation to the executive board, I didn't know it was going to be 25 degrees outside in the water that was in the bucket that was out there for the fire that we had started outside. I didn't know that that bucket of water was going to freeze that night. And my toes were going to be also frozen, and several other people who were out there experienced that weather. And what it moved us to understand is, from a coalition perspective, is that there are many people who don't have a choice. We had a choice to either stay out there that night or go inside to our homes or our cars into a nice, warm environment, but many people who are homeless don't have that option. So the Bridge City project, as you can see here, there is some people that are standing around, and I can guarantee you can probably not pick the individuals who are homeless that are there. You cannot select those individuals who are homeless. But we do have individuals who stayed outside with us that night that were homeless, and many people couldn't tell the difference between those individuals who, for instance, the lady who's in the jacket, the black and gold jacket. She is a national fundraiser for a national program for single parents that lives here in the Texarkana area. The gentleman, the two other gentlemen that are sitting there, those two gentlemen are homeless individuals, and there are people in the backdrop that you can never tell if they were homeless or not. One of the ladies who's in that in the backdrop there is the individual who takes care of all of the financial matters for the Salvation Army here in the Texarkana area. So there are many people who were involved in this project, and you cannot tell the difference. Thank God for that barrel at 25 degrees outside, and that barrel was provided. You're talking about a community effort. The lady who was there, she knew some people in town. She went to secure a barrel because we didn't think about that. We knew it was going to be cold, but we didn't know it was going to be that cold. And just imagine at 1 a.m. in the morning, and you know that you have to go to bed in a box, and you find yourself where it's cold outside and there's not any other options to stay warm. So what do? You try to set a fire. And I think that's what was so successful about our event, is that everyone who was out there used the resources that were made available to them in order for us to be successful at being out there and staying out there all night. Some of the partners on this particular project, we wanted to make sure we educated the community, not only the professional community, but we went into the high schools and the junior high schools and the elementary schools to make sure they were educated about how do people become homeless. And we asked them to provide us with places to live for that night. We had so many boxes out there. We had boxes from the Texarkana, Texas ISD, Texarkana, Arkansas ISD. We had schools from all around us, the Texarkana geographical area, who brought boxes. We had individuals who were not even in any of those schools. They built boxes to actually make sure we had a place to stay. We also had, from a local perspective, contractors who provided wood for us that night. I mean, he came out because his daughter was there, and he saw that we were running out of wood. So he went to his house, came back at 1 a.m. in the morning, and brought additional wood for us. And thank God for that wood, and thank God for him for being able to provide those things. As it relates to from a media perspective, we had the local radio stations that were there. We had the urban, we had the country radio stations that participated in the program with us. We had the local news station that was there with us that night. We had the banking community that was there. We had Wells Fargo Bank, who had a group of their bankers who came out. There were 4 of them who said, hey, they had a challenge at work, and they came out to participate with us because they wanted to bring a highlight to the issues that were here in the Texarkana area. And of course, many of us, we talk about the political wherewithal to participate in a program like this, or to bring highlights as it relates to the homeless issue in communities. We had both of our mayors from the sister cities in here in Texarkana on the Arkansas and the Texas side. Also, we had a city council member who graced his presence out there and came to be a part of the effort. And also, this city council member thought the program was so good that he wanted us to come before city council and talk to them about specifically what the coalition has done and what the coalition is planning to do. And I think that's part of what we, as we move forward with the homeless initiatives throughout Texas, is make sure we get those individuals engaged in the process at the front end instead of in the back end, and then there's something negative as it relates to that. Here in the Texarkana area, you're talking about a negative situation that took place. The city and a property owner had a concern about homelessness, and they had to go in and shut down a homeless camp. And it was on Facebook, it was on Twitter, it was everywhere. And from a negative perspective, there were some people who didn't understand specifically how to deal with the issue. The city was in a catch-22 as it relates to that, but because of our presentation And I think because of our efforts and because the city knew specifically what we were doing as it relates to homelessness, that, they reached out to us and were willing to utilize us as an avenue to help them move through this particular touchy situation. And not only are they willing to work with us, they also have members of their new director of planning and zoning is a part of the executive committee for the Texarkana Homeless Coalition. The objectives were to raise additional money. We had money coming in from church organizations, from youth organizations. We had community groups. We had even probation and parole and the prison systems that are here in the Texarkana area. They were raising money to deal with the homeless issue here. And we had their deputy and their assistant deputy who came out and actually spent the night with us out there in 25-degree weather. And that says something about the people that are here in the community and those individuals who are in different sectors of our community, and how we can bring those guys together, and then they can bring a highlight to this particular issue. Our hospital here, from a fundraising perspective, Crystal St. Michael and Etta Boys, to those guys, they were able to give us the money that we needed in order, from a seed perspective, in order for us to continue to push forward with the project and not go into our coffers to make this project a success. And they gave it right at about $2,500 for us to be successful out there. This box that you see before you is the one that I spent the night in. My wife and I spent the night in that box. While you were outside, you would go into the box, and it was warm, but a couple of hours later, it seemed like it really got really, really, really cold out there. And just imagine yourself being homeless and not being able to carry a box this size around with you. Or if the box is in the wrong place, the city has to come in there and remove it because it becomes an eyesore, and then you don't have a place to sleep that particular night. So it's good for us to be willing to bring those things into existence. You can see here up on the top left-hand corner of the screen, you'll notice that there's some folks there that are roasting hot dogs. You have a pastor that's in the group. You have some homeless individuals that are there. You have some youth individuals that are there. And, many of us, we want to roast the hot dogs, and that's what happened. Somebody brought in hot dogs. We were going to roast those, and one of the guys who was homeless said, don't use the ones with the paint on it, with the white paint on there, because you're going to poison yourself. Those of us who weren't homeless didn't think twice about that, would have been poisoned if we would have not relied on this individual who was homeless, who had the knowledge to share with us to keep us alive. And we can see over here on the right, there's a group of people that are talking. You can't tell specifically who those individuals are in the group. They're homeless people in the group. Our folks from the bank at the lower left, you can see those individuals from the bank that spent the night with us out there. I mean, they came prepared. They were ready, and that's exciting for those guys to be there with us. And then on the bottom right side of the screen, you'll notice that there's newspaper that actually lined that box that I was standing in that night. And this is a picture that I took while I was in there, and I can tell you it was really, really, really cold out there. The Bridge City project involved partnerships, teamwork, commitment, and of course 25-degree weather. That 25-degree weather was really serious, but because of our commitment, we were able to raise a little bit over $13,000 that can go into the Texas Homeless Coalition coffers for us to really help individuals by providing seed money, providing some things that they need in order to be successful in transitioning from being homeless to being a person who has a place to live. Some of the successes, not only was that we received those resources, we were just successful here at the Texarkana Housing Authority to receive 10 VASH vouchers to deal with this homeless issues, because we were committed from the Housing Authority perspective, is where I sit now. We were committed to helping eliminate homeless here in the Texarkana area. And our agency and our board believes in not just talking the talk, but really doing something to make it happen. And this is just the beginning of our commitment to eliminating homelessness here in the city of Texarkana, USA. The partners that you have here, you have the county, you have the Church Under the Bridge, which is a community group that's here in town that does all kinds of ministry work from a social service perspective with individuals that are homeless. Even the pastor performed a wedding for a homeless couple under there. And that was my first interaction with these folks for the Church Under the Bridge. We have individuals that are there. We have the food bank that's a part of that, the Literacy Council. We have, of course, Main Street Texarkana. We have the Randy Sam's Outreach Shelter, which is our homeless shelter that's here, the library that's currently doing a project here in the Texarkana area to deal with homelessness and showing people how to use computers and things like that. We have the police department, we have the United Way, we have mental health, and we have veterans organizations that are not listed here that are part of the organization now. So it's a great partnership. But in order for us to be successful with raising the dollars that we raised in the previous year, it took all of us working together to be successful on this particular project. And that concludes my presentation. If there is any questions or anything like that, you can just let me know and I'll take those now.
Johnny, at this time, we don't have any questions. Let me switch back over. If you want to go back to your screen that had your personal or your information up on it, your email address and such, that'd be great.
Okay.
Another question that I had in kind of you going through this was, how did you guys, in order to get all of those agencies engaged with the project, how did you guys work with the Literacy Council, the Housing Authority, the public library and such? How did you guys embrace those agencies and bring them on board with and kind of develop those partnerships? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, the first thing that happened is that we have a monthly meeting with the Texarkana Homeless Coalition, and those individuals are at the table, and we utilized, what their expertise were. We made sure that, they had a voice in this. For instance, with the library, many of the individuals at the library, some customers of the library said, we don't come to the library because there's always homeless people in there. So we work with them on eliminating their problems. So from that, they become, a trusted partner. They know that we're in, and they have some skin in the game. We have some skin in the game for their own personal objectives. So I think that helped us out there from those guys. And of course, the homeless shelters, they're dealing with certain kinds of issues, for instance, like housing. Jennifer and I, we call each other on our cell phones and say, hey, here's the situation that we're facing. And she'll say, hey, this is what I need. Can you help me with that? So we walk through a process of helping each other meet each other's core mission, but also working in sync with issues with, let's say there's a homeless person that is troubled, that has been through multiple agencies. Let's figure out really what the issue is. Who can talk to this person to solve that problem? So I think that building that trust was critical too, because being new to the community and coming in and really trying to do something as radical as this was in the midst of some homeless types of issues, it took us building trust and taking a leadership role and pushing forward with that objective through any opposition that we would have faced.
Great, great. Another question that came up. So another question that came up is, how did the homeless population react to outsiders or those community members coming out and spending the night with them and being active in that role?
Well, I didn't have any issues. We only had one issue with an individual who was intoxicated, but the homeless providers, the folks at the Randy Sam's shelter in the Friendship Center, knew the person. So they were able to pull him to the side, talk to him, and then from that point, he backed off. He went on where he was going to go, and so that was the only, from a negative perspective, that happened. All the other folks, as you can see, they were sitting around. We were having conversations with them to figure out, how can we can help them. And of course, my wife was there, I was there, and we know how to do case management. So we were doing some of those things to figure out, is there a way to get them into some system that can help them? So I think they saw it as, we're trying to help you. We're not trying to, look down on you. We just want to know how we can help you. And I think that the genuine people that were out there, they really wanted to help the individuals who were homeless. And I think that's the reason that it went over well.
Awesome. And at the same time, on that evening, as you guys were doing that project, what was the media's interpretation of what was happening? I think some agencies and some communities are kind of concerned, or they would maybe not want to do a project like that because they're not sure how the media would portray the event. So is there any hints or any kind of insight you give us into handling the media, or how it worked out for you guys?
Yeah, I think what we have done here in the Texarkana area is we know that these reporters, from a media perspective, are always looking for a story. So we make sure we're including them on the front end. If there's something that happens, they know that if they need a story as it relates to homelessness or issues like that, we are actually building the relationship before we really need them. For instance, on this particular event, and we had a new reporter also, which really helped out a lot. And I mean, he was in our chairperson's office and in her face, I mean, several different times up to this event. When it came to the radio stations, even this year, we have one radio station that is asking us for exclusive rights to be the only radio station during the event. They're willing to do an auction for us to help us raise money, and they're going to set a limit on the money that they're going to raise, maximum amount that they're planning to raise. And then on top of that, they're willing to stay out there with us all night and broadcast all night from the location.
That's wonderful. Yeah, the word I was looking for earlier was a little apprehensive, but that's great that you guys have really been able to get out there and kind of extend a hand out to the media and really have them come on board with you guys and really accept the project and the good work that's happening. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and also I'd like to add too is that we needed a briefing because of the cold. We called the fire department. The fire department came in, provided the briefing to everybody who was out there because of the weather, and then also one of the chiefs, and he said, don't tell anybody, so I can't tell you the name. I mean, they brought a fire extinguisher out there and said, hey, in case this fire gets out of hand, we're just down the street, call us, but here's a fire extinguisher that can actually, if you all need that, and they just brought that from the station and left it out there with us. And then as it relates to the police department, they were not embedded at all. But the police department, they drove through probably every hour, and they didn't stop or anything like that. They just drove through, and there was no incidents, no issues, except that one issue where we had the guy who had a little alcohol in him, but he went on about his business, and hey, it was over, and it was good.
Well, that's great. That's great that you can have an event like that to really show the community the good work that's going on, and really make the community or help them be aware of the homeless issue that's out there. And it can go smoothly like that, even on a night where it's so bitterly cold. Well, thank you so much, Johnny, for just coming on board with us today and really sharing that information and how to really kind of just an example of a project that can happen to where you can build community support. That's exactly the type of resources that we're looking at getting out there as an agency, and some examples that we can give to just kind of get everybody thinking all around the state, what can we do to kind of let everybody know about the issues that are going on and the kind of the things that we face in our agencies on a day-to-day basis. So Johnny's information's been up there. I am going to take over back over to my screen. And we had some good questions. So for next month, well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us on these monthly webinars. They've really been great. We've had, let's see, this will be our 6th one. So really some great chances to talk about and here's some examples of what's happening out in our communities around homelessness, around the mental health piece, around the housing piece, around the coalition building piece. And so one of the topics that I have not been able to really spend a lot of time focusing on in these webinars is the mental health piece. So what I'd really like to do is kind of put an invite out there to everybody that's listening, and that if you have any ideas or some great examples of things that are happening around our state, please shoot me an email. My email address is right up there in front of you right now, and just kind of give me some information about what's happening. I would love to know what's going on in the communities around the mental health that our clients' mental health, and how we are addressing that. So please, if you have any information, that'd be great. And hopefully we can get some webinars out around mental health. So, so that is the plan. So for next month, we will have our next webinar on the 26th. And as soon as I get everything lined up for that, I will shoot everybody an invite out. So please watch in your inboxes for that invite, and we'll see everybody again here next month. And as soon as this webinar is finished, you should receive a survey. So please put information on the survey of other topics you'd like to hear as well. Thank you so much.